to this very special podcast on the Nuremberg Messe podcast. I'm your host, Shunakshi Chakravarti, and today we will be speaking to an industry expert and industry leader when it comes to the woodworking machinery and woodworking solutions in India. I will be speaking with Mr. Gopi, who is the founder and managing director at WoodTech Consultants. And if you can't tell already, I am standing here at their massive sprawling facility here in Pina, near Bengaluru city in the state of Karnataka. We will be speaking on all things wood, but most importantly, we will be speaking on the wood tech journey and how India is positioning itself globally when it comes to the woodworking industry. Mr. Gopi, thank you very much for taking the time out and giving us this interview and this podcast. Let's dive right in and let's talk about the wood tech journey, the story. Take us through that.
Yeah, so WoodTech was started in 2001. I'm one of the founder of WoodTech. So when we started in 2001, the industry was in the very premature stage, and we had a lot of challenges, while starting up, and working with the industry. And so that's how we, moved on from there. So when we started in the beginning, we had the industry had a problem of affordability of machines. So when we started looking at, how could we make people afford these machines, because most of the machines were coming from Europe and things like that. So then we started looking at the Asian side. Then we started bringing machines from the Asian side, and that's how we started our journey from 2001, introducing Asian machines made from Asian countries.
Right. Yeah. So between 2001 and 2023, that's nearly over 2 decades of your experience, of your body of work. So in the last 20 plus years, what have been some of the challenges that you've seen in this industry, and how have you managed to address those challenges?
Yeah, so basically 20 years is our business journey in WoodTech, but actually my career in woodworking industry started from 1992. It's almost like 30 years now I spent in this industry. So we have had a lot of interesting, things during this 20 years of WoodTech. As I mentioned to you earlier, the industry had this issue on affordability of machines, because predominantly in those years, only European machines were being sold. And so people were either able to buy those machines or not able to buy those machines. They were dreaming of buying those machines because they couldn't afford those machines from Europe. So when we started, bringing in machines from Taiwan, which actually suited these conditions better than the European machines, and the Taiwanese machines came with an affordability tag. They were performing well and had this affordability tag. And so more and more people, a lot of small companies started buying these machines from those years when we started introducing. And that's how we've seen the transformation of a lot of small factories into big factories over these years.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've clearly seen some of those challenges, but you've also managed to address those challenges.
Correct.
Which brings me to my next question, that in the last 20 plus years, what have been some of the milestones at WoodTech Consultants? And if you can share some success stories.
Yes, we've had a lot of milestones and a lot of success stories in WoodTech in the last 20 years. So as I told you, a lot of small factories, we have seen them, transforming into a larger setup year on year. They kept buying machines, they kept adding machines, they kept expanding themselves. So that has been one of the success stories. We've seen many of those factories mushrooming in certain areas, and export factories, large export factories mushrooming in the areas in Rajasthan and in UP and in the Delhi NCR region. So that has actually given us a lot of satisfaction in seeing those factories becoming bigger and then exporting furnitures out of India from 2001. And apart from that, the most important thing for us, satisfying factor for us, is that we have also created a very good service backup for all these customers, because in India, all these machines were not known for so many years. And people didn't know how to use these machines. People didn't know how to service this machine. So we had to give this backup. We've created a very well established service network to service this. That has actually given the boost to the growth of the industry.
So clearly a lot of milestone moments and a lot of success stories, I'm sure. But it is also important to talk about and touch upon how the COVID-induced pandemic affected the whole world. The entire world was in a lockdown because of it. But as slowly and steadily the industries were recovering from it, how did the COVID pandemic affect the woodworking industry overall in India, and how was WoodTech able to overcome that?
I mean, fortunately for the furniture industry was not that much
Mm.
affected by the COVID pandemic like the other industries, because people were spending more time at home, and
Mm.
the only thing that they were doing was buying new
Shopping
furniture,
online.
shopping online
Did
on
you shop
furniture.
online?
Yes,
Yes,
I mean,
all
all
of
of
us
us,
did.
all of us
All
did.
of us did.
So basically, people started buying furnitures online, and that actually boosted the furniture industry. Except the period of lockdown,
Hmm.
when we opened up,
Hmm.
really, the demand for the furniture increased across the globe. Across the globe, even my clients who are exporting furniture have seen a phenomenal growth in their export orders, and they received a lot of export orders. So which sometimes they didn't manage to produce, and they were kept buying machines. They keep calling us and asking us for machines, immediate deliveries, and things like that. We had certain challenges at that time, in getting the shipping on time and things like that. We managed to do it with our experience. But really, speaking, a lot of the furniture industry had a good time immediately after the COVID period, except the lockdown period. But immediately after the COVID period, it was actually a very good period for the entire furniture industry.
That's interesting because all the sectors and all sectors across, not just in India but globally, industries were recovering and they were trying to cope up from the effects of the COVID pandemic. But like you are saying, sir, that the woodworking industry, the furniture industry was perhaps not that badly affected,
Yes.
or in fact, maybe a better way to put it would be that they tried to recover faster or in a
Very
better
fast,
way.
very fast. Yeah.
So it's very interesting to know this and learn this from you, which brings me to my next question: that what are some of the new emerging trends that you are observing in the woodworking industry in India?
See, over the years, what I have seen today, India being a small carpentry factories producing furnitures for small projects and things like that, have transformed into a high productivity based manufacturing industry in the last 10 years or so. More and more clients demanding for high productivity machines. They want machines to produce high volume because they're getting, the demands are increasing, and they want to produce more in order to stay very competitive on the pricing of furniture. So for us, we in WoodTech, what we have done is that we brought in machines which can produce, which is faster and which can produce more at a given point in time. So this has been also one of the reason for our success in the last 10, 12 years. We've been growing very rapidly because of this demand in the growing productivity in India, and the machines that we were able to bring in to meet those demands.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So now when we speak of the woodworking machinery and the industry in itself, in your assessment, how do you view India's positioning globally and also when it comes to countries such as China, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, that are huge manufacturers, and of course when it comes to the woodworking space, these countries are some of the names that come up to your mind. So what is India's positioning globally when it comes to this?
Globally, India in the last 5, 6 years or so has positioned it really, really well, for a reason that there is an online, the furniture sales online is also, increasing the growth of the industry. Second, the Indian made furnitures are also being accepted worldwide. I have seen so many large scale furniture manufacturing units that have come up for exports in the last 5, 6 years. So that actually shows that India has become a very important player in the global market for furniture manufacturing, and the furniture companies across the globe look at India for specialty furniture. If they need a mass furniture, if they need a cost effective furniture, they go to China, or if they need a very high end furniture, they go to Italy or Europe. And if they need a mid range furniture and specialty furnitures with some kind of a modification that they needed, or some kind of a different taste if they want, so they are the one who come to India, for the furniture purchase.
Right.
And apart from that, the local industry, the Indian furniture industry also has been growing, largely because the disposable income of the Indian household is increasing every year on year. And the middle class population is also getting bigger and bigger. There are a lot of people who come into the middle class segment, and they are the one who are driving the growth of furniture industry. There are so many houses which did not have furniture in the last 10 years, started buying furniture in the last 5 years. So every house you would see a sofa, people buying a sofa, people buying a TV unit, people buying a cot and things like that. So this is actually people who did not have furniture started buying furniture. So this is actually also growing the local demand. The local demand is growing very, very rapidly.
So, which again, sort of, if we have to revisit to my question, India's positioning when it comes to major economies or growing economies, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and a major economy like China. So, do you think we are reaching that global standard? Is there a global standard when it comes to this industry that we are there?
Yes,
Have we
yes,
reached
yes.
that?
There are global standards, and largely we also have to appreciate the buying companies from United States or from Europe. They have set certain standards, and they started implementing these standards in India.
Right.
And also companies like IKEA coming to India also have set some standards, and they've taken the standards also very high. There means like there are factories, they have a lot of social compliances, you know, like they inspect the factories and they need to keep the factories clean, and they need to give a proper food to the workers. They need to give proper water and, you know, the change room and toilet and things like that. So that has actually set the standards very high for the Indian furniture industry, and thereby that's actually also contributing to the local factories also want to get to that level and you know, basically set the standards very high.
Right. Speaking of setting the standards very high, also very important to talk about technology and how technology is playing a role in today's time, not just when it comes to the internet, but also in businesses. How businesses are adapting to new technology that is driving key innovations at their companies. So, if I were to ask you, how is technology a factor in your business? In this industry for WoodTech specifically, and how is it driving that shift that is happening? There's an undercurrent, there's a shift happening.
Correct.
So how are you incorporating technology, and how is technology really influencing this transformation?
Yeah, so we as WoodTech quickly adapted to this demand in technology from our clients. We started associating with software companies which are producing software for manufacturing, that is from design to manufacturing is what is the new norms in India today, where customers, they don't want to get into documents and having so many papers, you know, in manufacturing processes. They want to simplify this process by having a software. So we tied up with many software companies, and in the last 3-4 years we have seen a lot of demand for this software among our customers, where the customer designed the furniture in a software and that software speaks to the machine directly.
Oh,
okay,
that's
so when that happens, the lot of manual errors avoided, they save a lot of time, and they are able to design much faster and create a bill of materials, create costing from the software. So WoodTech has adapted to this demand very, very quickly, and we have created a software division in 2019, knowing this demand, and we have created a separate team for this division to drive this division. So that's how you know, the industry also adapted this software thing very, very fast, and we are also able to cope up for the demand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, which brings me to my last couple of questions as we close this podcast with you, sir. What are your thoughts on a platform like INDIAWOOD, and how do you think a platform like this is benefiting industry stalwarts such as you and this entire industry?
Well, I have personally grown along with INDIAWOOD, as I mean, I can proudly say that, you know, I've been part of the first INDIAWOOD, you know, which happened way back in 1999. Thanks to, I would like to say my sincere thanks to Mr. Ramu Ramakrishnan, who founded this INDIAWOOD in 1999 with a small show at that time. So we were part of that show from 1999, and from there onwards, WoodTech participated in every INDIAWOOD edition from 2001. And we have been growing our space from a small space that we took in the beginning without any machines. And in 2004, we had a big stall of a lot of machines. We brought in first time, we brought in so many machines, and which India has not seen those machines in exhibitions, you know, in 2004. So INDIAWOOD has actually provided a very good platform for companies like WoodTech and also for many companies to showcase technologies and new innovations, and also for the visitors or for the clients who come to see these machines in the exhibition, live demonstration, and that has actually contributed a lot to the growth of this industry as such. So now INDIAWOOD also is growing bigger and bigger, and we are also getting bigger and bigger with so many machines in live demonstration during INDIAWOOD, and many clients across India wait for INDIAWOOD, and they keep asking us 6 months before INDIAWOOD, when is INDIAWOOD coming? When is the next show happening? And what are the new things that you are going to introduce in the show? Many people wait for INDIAWOOD to see something new. So this also gives us a kind of a challenge every time that we need to bring something new to display in the INDIAWOOD, and we keep doing it every edition after edition, bringing in something new in terms of technology, in terms of machines to display and to show to customers.
So definitely INDIAWOOD, not just a show, but those few days of meeting people and exchanging ideas and values, just looking forward to that is quite the excitement that I think you and the entire industry looks forward to. I just want to ask you last couple of questions. What is the future of the Indian woodworking industry, the furniture industry, the woodworking machinery industry? Like I keep saying, you are an industry leader, you know better. So what according to you is the future of this?
No, the future certainly is quite big in the coming years. At least for the next 15 years, we have no other option but to grow. We have to grow, and this industry is going to grow much bigger. I would say there has been a prediction. There have been a lot of market research done about this industry, considering the middle class population expanding and the disposable income of this middle class population increasing. The furniture industry is going to grow really big, at least 10 times bigger in the next 15 years. And we have seen this change in the last 3-4 years, and we are going to see this change also in the coming years. So, I mean, exact figures are not there as such, but the growth as such, the potential is very huge, and it is going to grow really big, bigger than what we see today.
So, Mr. Gopi, and in his words, the Indian woodworking industry is set to grow bigger and bigger, and there is no option really, because this industry has so much potential, and every other day there is something new, some new innovation, some new technology driven innovation that is becoming a part of this change. So the Indian woodworking industry, massive potential, massive growth in the years to come. And on final thoughts, your message, your kind thoughts and words to the INDIAWOOD team that really puts everything together every year for people like you, for companies like you. Your message to the INDIAWOOD team and for Nuremberg Messe.
Yeah, so INDIAWOOD team and Nuremberg Messe has been doing a great job. Ever since NM took over this INDIAWOOD show, we've seen also standards becoming very high on the show. And so we feel that it is going to add great value, and the team also has been putting up a really very good efforts to make this show even more bigger and even more successful. And I keep hearing news from the team that the show is already sold out. We don't have space. We want to increase space, but finding it difficult to increase the space. So I think it's doing good, and my thing is keep it up.
All right. With that, Mr. Gopi, thank you very much for your time, for giving this time for this podcast and interview, because we at Nuremberg Messe believe that this platform is to speak to those people who matter to the industry, and you certainly do, and in a very big way. You're very significant when it comes to the Indian woodworking industry, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks
for
a lot.
This time. Thank you so much.